Are you ready?
This is From the Backline, a soccer podcast from Vancouver, covering the game at home and abroad. Here are your hosts, Mark Daly and Jorge Mendoza.
Hey everybody, welcome back to From the Backline. It is Thursday, I think, still technically, at least for another hour, March 26, 2026, so 3/26/26. That's got to be some sort of esoteric number value, but if you want conspiracy theories and stuff, you've come to the right place. No, I'm just kidding. Mark Daly and Jorge Mendoza here, back again for 2 weeks in a row after 6 years off the job. Dude, I've lost all track of time. Anyways, how are you doing?
That's why we were away for 6 years.
Exactly. No concept of time or reality here.
But listen, Mark, talking about conspiracy theories, I'm going to come in from the get-go. Because I was just thinking, the Vancouver Whitecaps started the MLS season with 4 wins in a row. They had scored 27 million goals, allowed only one. They were the best team in the league. And what do you decide to do? You decide to bring back your silly little show. And what exactly happened right after? They lost. They lost at home. They lost against the San Jose Earthquakes. No offense to the San Jose Earthquakes. A little offense to the San Jose Earthquakes. I know what some people are saying. Hey, it's just a coincidence. I know better. I know better. And we talked about last week about how this team was able to sustain momentum and winning ways after devastating injuries to their key players, after losses that were very, very saddening in international tournaments. And they took challenge after challenge, and they rose above it. But Mark Daly, behind the microphone, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to recoup that.
Yeah, the kiss of death. The kiss of death, obviously, yeah.
If the season goes off the rails after this, I know exactly who my finger is going to be pointing at the end of the season. So what do you have to say about yourself?
Well, in my defense, I was a little bit off my game last week, and you told me that we were just not going to do anything that wasn't audio. So I kind of showed up not looking my best, right? I showed up looking a little bit scruffy. My hair was all messy, and dude, come on. I mean, even with bad head, I'm still like an easy 9, right?
Out of 100?
Well, it's better than saying that I'm the best Mark or best looking Mark on the show. And then you're like, well, you're the only Mark on the show, and you're still not even the best looking one. Anyways, I can't remember what we were talking about, but yes, it's probably my fault. So I'm just going to own it. I'll own it right now off of the top and just,
I'm going to keep my eye on you all season long.
You should. Honestly, you should.
All right. Well, last week, you made a comment that was actually interesting.
Okay.
It got me thinking. You said, I wonder how many players from previous iterations of the Whitecaps would make the starting 11 of the 2026 Whitecaps. And I thought about it for a couple of days because I have nothing better to think about, realistically. And so I decided that maybe it would be fun to try to come up with our Whitecaps FC MLS-Era best starting 11. So, to do that, we pooled a bunch of players in different positions, and right now we're going to go through them. You're going to pick yours, I'm going to pick mine, and we'll see how we stand at the end of this exercise. Are you cool?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, let's start. In goal, the options are David Ousted or Jorge Takaoka.
What about Brad Knighton, dude?
I said best 11.
Okay, fair enough. Oh man, that's a tough one. But I think I'm going to go with Jorge. I love David Ousted, but I think that Jorge, the player versus player one-on-one, I think that Jorge has the advantage.
I think that Ousted was the first quality goalkeeper that this team had in the MLS-Era, but I think Jorge really takes it to the next level. All right, we're in agreement there.
What about Maxime Crepeau? Does Crepeau?
We don't talk about Maxime Crepeau. We do not talk about Maxime Crepeau.
That's fair.
Right back. Oddly enough, probably the richest position that as I was going through the players, I ran around 3.
Okay.
Number 1, Jake Nowinski. One of the players with the most reps as a Whitecap.
And also a dude that you could set your watch to his haircut. I mean, tightest crew cuts.
On point.
On point.
On point every time.
Yeah.
Steven Betashore, World Cup player with Iran, or White Pili.
Oh man, that is a tough one. I don't want to be disrespectful to YP because even at the end of his career, he was still a class player. But wow, that leaves it takes it down to Betashore and Jake Nerwinski.
Correct.
I mean, Betashore was a quality player in that side at a time that, the consistency of quality players just spread throughout the entire side wasn't really all there, right? They still had some ways to go. Man, Nerwinski played 140, 153 million matches for the clubs. I mean, he's how many coaches did he survive in his time with the Whitecaps? Like about 40 different coaches?
I think so.
Oh, honestly, like I know this sounds like a non-answer, but I think you could, for me, I think you could go with either one of them.
Well, you're wrong. With both
I'm
of
wrong.
Them.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that the right answer to this is White Pili, an absolute legend of Korea. He was absolutely incredible over the right hand side. He's a small guy, but he was absolutely
huge
on
presence.
Point with. Yeah, and he could do it in the defensive end. He could do it on the offensive end, and he just knew where to be. And absolutely. So I'm going to go with White Pili. And for you, I'm going to put down Steven Betashore.
Okay.
So I think that was my second choice. So since you didn't answer, I'm going to pick for you.
Okay.
Right center back.
Yep.
We have Kendall Waston or Ranko Veselinovic.
Oh, man, that's another tough one. Yeah. Ooh. I'm going to go with Kendall, just because I love Kendall so much.
You're going to go with Kendall Waston?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go with Ranko Veselinovic.
Solid choice.
The reason why is that I think, for the record, I think that Kendall Waston, at his best, was the most dominant defender in the league at the time.
Yes.
An absolute beast. But I don't think the consistency was there. He had a tremendous 2015. He had a horrendous 2016. He came back again with a solid 2017. But I think that the presence that Ranko has brought since he was here, we were talking about him, he was been here for 6 years now, since 2020, and has been, and he's getting better every year, I feel. So I'm going to go with Veselinovic.
And technically a very, very solid player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Waston could do it in both ends, though. Like he scored some big goals for this club, but still.
Yeah, he probably scored about 15 or 20 goals during his time for the Whitecaps. Yeah. So, I mean, no slouch when it came to, putting them in the back of the net.
Not at all. Not at all. Left center back, the options are 2, Jay Demerit or Tristan Blackman.
Well, I think Tristan is obviously like a much more versatile modern center back, but I mean, Jay was kind of like, he was like the club's first big signing. And I think he really kind of set the tone for the club, like back in the day, obviously being an expansion team, everything he did with with the U.S. men's national team, playing in England, I think his mentality was basically to block everything. And it was his goal that, started that playoff run in 2012 that, didn't last very long. And, I still kind of think about, that opportunity that Darren Maddox had with that wide open goal that he just could not.
We'll get to the strikers in a second.
Exactly. Yeah, just, spoiler alert, Darren Maddox is unfortunately not on my strikers list. Shocker.
He's not good enough. He didn't even make the short list.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Tristan. You're going
to go with Tristan Blackman, reigning most valuable defender in the league.
Yes.
You see, that's the easy choice, I think. And as much as I like Tristan Blackman, I have to go with Demerit. First signing, first captain, first DP, World Cup hero, played in the Premier League, an incredible defender with so much leadership. I'm a Demerit guy, so I couldn't go otherwise.
I've got Jay's kit hanging upstairs in my closet from the first season.
So do I. So do I.
Long sleeve version. I love the long sleeve version.
Okay, left backs. We have Jordan Harvey, Goal Machine, or Ali Adnan.
See, the thing with, so Ali Adnan, there was that goal against FC Dallas where he like literally dribbled through like 48 different people and curled it to the back of the net. I mean, Ali Adnan was just a different type of player. And Jordan, I mean, he played a ton of matches for the Whitecaps. He was, I think,
he's the leader. He has the most appearances as a Whitecap.
It still is. Okay, that's an interesting one. I thought he played the overlap very well. I think there was a couple of times here and there where, there was, the joke back in the day was either if he was on, like if he was really on, it was Jordan effing Harvey. And when he wasn't, it was, geez, effing Jordan Harvey again. But he was a good player. Ali Adnan, I mean, I guess if you kind of sum it up, it was like either, pain or glory, right? There was like opposite ends of the spectrum, but I mean, he had charisma, like he was a guy that just had a different vibe about him. I don't think we've seen a player quite like Ali Adnan before or since with the Whitecaps. He was one of a kind, in my opinion.
So you're going with Adnan?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Adnan.
Over Jordan Harvey. That is disrespectful. That is disrespectful. I have to go 100% with Jordan Harvey.
Yeah,
he was a stalwart of the left back position for the Vancouver Whitecaps for so many years. He played so many games. He scored so many exciting goals. And he made a career. It was shocking decision. It's funny because we just worked on the pool of players, and I was worried that we were going to just go the same way, and this was going to be a boring segment. But it turns out it's a good thing that we didn't talk about this beforehand because shocking calls you're making. Let's continue. Central defensive midfielder.
Okay.
2 options: Matias Laba or Andres Cubas.
So, I mean, Matias Laba was the original destroyer, right? I mean, he led the league in tackles for, a couple of seasons there about 10 years ago. He was really he was like that safety blanket for the Whitecaps that really allowed Jordan Harvey and Steven Beitashour to play and stay high and wide, right? I mean, but the thing with Cubas is he's more, I think he's obviously more mobile. He's a little bit more aggressive in 1v1 situations. He's got that recovery speed, which helps Jesper really deploy and play that high line. And, without him in the side, and I think we'll get into it a little bit later on, that, the defense lacks something. So as much as I love Matty Laba, I'm going to go with Cubas.
Okay. Well, let's just put it this way. My son's name is Matias. Now, I'm not saying that it is because of Matias Laba, but I'm not saying that it's not because of Matias Laba. When Matias Laba was on the pitch, there was a sense of like, everything's going to be okay. You knew that it was going to be fine. And he was the original player that had that calming presence that I remember. And I know that Andres Cubas is a much better player. He played at higher levels of the game. I get that. And he's a Paraguayan international. He's probably going to play the World Cup. I get it. He is objectively a better player. Having said that, and I might be unfair in this, but when I think about Andres Cubas, I think of the last game of the 2024 playoffs against LAFC. I'm thinking the final of the CONCACAF Champions in 2025. And I'm thinking MLS Cup final. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Yep.
Go back, look at the tape. Unfair? Possibly. But that's just in my mind.
Yeah. Fair. Okay, that's fair enough. Now, can I say something before we go? Like we move on to the next one. So I'm just a little bit concerned here. Bear with me for a moment. The way that you react, that exasperated sigh and that disappointed look in every one of my answers really brings back these uncomfortable memories that I had when my wife and I were meeting recently with our financial planner. And every time that she asked me a question and I gave an answer, that was that same reaction. So I'm just saying that I guess I'm just disappointing. So
you're disappointed. I'm disappointed. It's not my fault that you're making the wrong decisions. Let's before
that's funny. That's what my financial planner said as well.
Dude, it just goes along.
Yeah, there's a pattern here for sure.
100%. Okay, before we move into the attacking, let's do a quick recap. So
okay.
The only call that or the only position that we have agreed on is goal, which we both pick Jorge Takaoka.
Yep.
As a right back, you picked, or I picked for you because you wouldn't pick one, Steven Betasher. And I pick YP Lee.
YP Lee.
Center back in the right hand side, you pick Kendall Waston, and I went with Ranko Veselinovic.
Yep.
Left center back, you went with Tristan Blackman, and I went with Jay Demerit. As a left back, I went with Jordan Harvey, and you went with Ali Adnan. And then as a central defensive midfielder, you went with Andres Cubas, and I went with Matias Lava. So that's where we stand right now.
Okay.
So let's take a look at the last 5.
Bring it on.
So let's start with an easy one. The left winger. We have 3 options. Alphonso Davies, Ali Ahmed, or Kutamane. I'm sorry, I couldn't finish that without breaking down.
Like on just the fact that we seem to be playing good cop, bad cop here. I'm just going to come straight out and say Kakuta Mane, but
how dare you?
Of course, it's going to be Alphonso Davies. Come on, this isn't even a serious maybe we're going to disrespect Kakuta Mane, but no disrespect to Ali, but it's Alphonso Davies. I mean, I know he stayed here until he was the ripe old age of like 10 and a half years old. I mean, he was still a baby when he left here he was 17, 18 in reality.
18,
yeah, and I mean, he's literally gone on to be a rock star in Europe. I mean, just an immensely talented footballer, and just the fact that he came through Vancouver Whitecaps just makes it more special. I mean, I don't really know what else to say to that one. I mean, Ali Ahmed, I mean, he's doing well at Norwich City. It was sad to see him go, obviously, but Alfonso's in a league of his own. Honestly, there's no debate there.
He's easily the best player that has come out of the Whitecaps Academy or the Whitecaps team.
Yep.
Arguably the best team coming out of Canada. Male, obviously. Female, we know who the GOAT is.
For sure.
All right, that was an easy call. This one next, Mark, was the one that I have struggled with the most.
Okay.
As that attacking midfielder, it's between Pedro Morales and Thomas Muller.
Okay. Well, I mean, how do you argue against Thomas Muller? But I mean, Pedro raised the bar and gave us hope that the Whitecaps of a decade ago may grow into something special. I mean, the way that he was able to switch the play and drop those 50-yard passes onto the boot of whichever side he decided to play the ball to was amazing. Plus, he was just the awesomest dude ever. And I mean, basically, I think he held the record for assists in the MLS-Era until Ryan Golds came along, right? And I mean, so that's another discussion there. I mean, Thomas, an elite player. I mean, still performing really, 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 really well at the ripe old age of 36. Has made a big impact coming to Vancouver Whitecaps not even a year ago. I mean, gosh, it seems, he settled in right away. It feels like he's been a Whitecap for longer than 4.5 weeks or whatever it is. But you know what I mean? I mean, joking aside, that was just, talk about an amazing signing and the impact, the way he lifted that team up around him. I mean, honestly, the obvious answer is Thomas Muller, but you got to give an honorable mention to Pedro Morales. I mean, he's in there. If there's an alternate in the best 11, I think that, we put an asterisk beside Thomas Muller's name and just say, don't forget about Pedro.
He will be the first sub in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I struggle with this because I generally think that pound for pound, Pedro Morales is the most talented player that has put on a Whitecaps jersey in the MLS-Era. When he was, obviously, Muller, don't get me wrong, Muller is the biggest star and the biggest name and the biggest winner that has come to this game, and arguably the one that has made the biggest impact so far. That is not up for debate. What he's accomplished in his career. right? He's won it. He's played all the bigger tournaments, all the biggest finals, and he's won them all.
Mm-hmm.
So no comparison in terms of like how big of an important player each of them has been. But talent alone, pound for pound, Morales, I saw Morales do things that I have never seen other player in a Whitecaps jersey do.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
When he was at his best, arguably the best football that I've seen this team play was when Morales was at his best. Problem is, he wasn't at his best for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
He had a bum knee, and that sort of like, so there was a level of inconsistency there. So picking a best starting 11 of the Vancouver Whitecaps and not having Pedro Morales in there, it pains me.
It does,
but I can't. In this one, I can't do that. So Mueller has to be there.
So, 100%.
I'm sad. I'm just sad. Right winger. I know he's not technically a right winger, but I have to put him somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Options are Ryan Gold or Jorge Reina, both DPs.
Yeah, it's obviously Ryan Gold. I mean, Jordi just wasn't able. I mean, obviously, like you say, a very, very talented player, but just couldn't get it done, right? Like the consistency wasn't there.
I recently found an article that I wrote when you and I both wrote about the Whitecaps for Daily Hive back in the day. And I found an article that I wrote that was titled, Jorge Reina is the answer for the Vancouver Whitecaps problems. So he had a notoriety. He had a role to play, but obviously Ryan Gold it's an easy choice there. All right. So we had a 4-4-2 formation-ish, like a 4-1-3-2-ish formation. We have two strikers. The first one, I put a group of three. We have Brian White, Cavallini, and Hasley.
So sorry, White, Hasley, and Cavallini. You got to go Brian White with that one. I mean, Hasley gets the, like the cult hero figure, fan favorite label, even though, I mean, his time at the Whitecaps was actually fairly short. I mean, he'll be ever remembered for that legendary goal he scored at, I guess it was still CenturyLink Field back in the day, in that Cascadia derby in the first year against
Brad Friedel.
That's exactly. That's the stuff of legends. But I mean, Brian White, I mean, he's scoring goals still like they're going out of style. It's like, you get a goal, you get a goal, you get a goal, everybody gets a goal. I mean, he's just consistent, and I mean, Cavallini,
he did get it done.
No, I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean, on that side, I'm going with I'm going with White. Hasley gets the fan favorite cult figure label, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue with the numbers, right? He's the leader scorer in the MLS-Era for this team.
Yeah,
and you cannot include him, given what he's contributed to the team throughout the last few seasons, right? In seasons that they have been successful, so you can leave him out. In fairness, I don't think he's the most accomplished striker that has passed through the Whitecaps, but he's the one that has converted the most. And we'll get to another player that I think, I doubt it, but we have to go with Brian White because of what he has accomplished on the pitch.
Yeah, he just works hard, right? He's just a hard-working, consistent player that scores goals.
All right. Last choice. Again, group of three.
Yep.
We have Camilo, Kenny Miller, and Fredy Montero. And I know Fredy Montero is a bit of an outside, but he's up there. He scored about 22 goals for this team. Like, it's not slouch.
Yeah, not a slouch by any mean. So let's say, Camilo, Kenny Miller, and Fredy Montero. I mean, Fredy in the two stints he had with the Whitecaps, he scored a whole lot of goals. I don't have that number in front of me, but I mean, he was also successful, kind of being like a double agent, if you want to call him that, because he was kind of like a fan favorite in Seattle. And then he was kind of that guy for a while. It's like, well, what are we doing, signing the cast off from like rivals and stuff like that. But I mean, he scored 50, 60, 70 goals for the Whitecaps or whatever it was. Plus, I mean, if you go back to that first playoff win against the Earthquakes back in 2017, it was like 4-0, 5-0 or whatever. I mean, that was like Freddie's imprint was all over that game. He scored a goal. He had at least a couple of assists with what I can remember. And I mean, at the end of it, I mean, I think that despite the fact that his roots in MLS started with the Sounders, I will always remember him as a Whitecap who also kind of played a little while in Seattle as well. I mean, it could have completely flipped around. I mean, Camilo... Yeah, I mean, he was the golden boot, but he'll be forever tarnished with like, the sliminess of the way that, he went to Liga MX and Querétaro. And I was thinking about that because I went back and looked at the highlights and just that scissor kick goal against the Timbers back in 2013. And
Puskas, he was a Puskas nominee.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that was just, it was ridiculous. I mean, the way that, I don't know. It was honestly like physics defying because he basically had to stop his forward momentum, launch himself into the air, rotate his body, and he just caught the ball right in that sweet spot. And I don't even remember if Donovan Ricketts moved off of his line. I think by the time Ricketts realized that Capillo had connected with the ball, it was already in the back of the net. And we were sitting like at that game, we were right behind the goal when it happened. And that was just, that's like one of my personal top sporting moments that I've seen in real life. It was absolutely outstanding. But unfortunately, I mean, he'll always be, his reputation will be tarnished, right? And I get it. You got to look out for number one and you got to look out for yourself. But come on, just the way that he went, and that was just... It was BS, and Kenny Miller. I mean, I think we talked about him last week. I mean, he also had another big goal against the Timbers. I think that same year. I mean, it probably gets overshadowed just by the passage of time and the fact if you go back and think about big goals from that 2013 season, you're going to think about Camilo's strike against Portland. But he had this amazing goal that he scored on the volley against the Portland as well. But I think you summed it up nicely that while Kenny Miller was here for a couple of years, I think it was about 2012 to 2014, somewhere in there, that he just didn't have the consistent service, right? But I mean, there was no question that he was he was a really, really good striker. And I often wonder, like you said last week, had he gotten decent, consistent service as his time as a Whitecap, maybe this discussion is completely different. I mean, he was a class player. There's no doubt about it.
So who are you picking?
Freddie. I got to go with Freddie.
Freddie Montero.
Yeah.
Whoa, talking about left field. To be honest, I put Montero as like a filler because I was like, I put three guys and the other guy, let's put three guys. And all right.
Yeah.
Dude, you have to go with Camilo. He won the Golden Boot as a Whitecap. That hasn't happened. It doesn't happen very often. He's still like up there in like the leader scores. I believe he's third. You can't have a best 11 of the Whitecaps without Camilo in there. So, you have to let it go, bro. You have to let it go. Your scorn daily is wow. All right. Well,
I just in this case, dude, I just can't be unbiased about that one. I have to, even though it's been over a decade, almost a decade and a half, which is ridiculous.
Let it bygones be bygones.
No, dude, I can't let it go. I can't let it go. I will give him his flowers for that goal against the Timbers, but the rest of it, he's completely dead to me.
Do you know who put the service for that goal against the Timbers?
It was YP, wasn't it?
YP Lee. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
That probably that was that not the final game of the season? That was probably
in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
in the last 5 minutes of
right at the end
YP's career.
Of the match. Yeah. It was like right at the end
he
of
was still
what a way to
dimes. He was putting dimes. Puskas winning, well, not winning, but like Puskas nominated dimes to as a service. Wow. Okay. Well, that went a bit off the rails at the end. All right. So let's just do a quick recap for you, Mark Daly. Your starting 11 for the Whitecaps in the MLS-Era is Jorge Takaoka, Steven Maidashore, Kendall Weston, Tristan Blackman, Ali Adnan, Andres Cubas, Ryan Gold, Thomas Muller, Alfonso Davis, Brian White, and Freddie Montero.
Bring home the cup right now. Plan the damn parade right now. Take my boys out there and we'll bring home the MLS Cup tomorrow. Let's go. Let's go.
For me, it's Jorge Takaoka, YP Lee, Ranko Veselinovic, Jay Demerit, Jordan Harvey, Matias Lava, Ryan Gold, Thomas Muller, Alfonso Davis, Brian White, and Camilo Sampezzo. So, for all you listening to this, please let us know what your thoughts are. Please make sure that you tell Mark how wrong he was in some of these calls. And we're looking forward to see what you guys think. Yeah, all right. Well, I said at the beginning, Mark, let's do a 5 to 7 minute segment on this, and it's been like half an hour. So,
well, you didn't think we were going to get us. Tristan is going to be so upset at you, for picking Jay Demerit over him, because do you not remember the video that the Whitecaps released when he found out that he won, his award last year? I mean, that was real. I mean, the feels got me right there.
Yeah,
and I love Jay Demerit, but Jay
Demerit has been on the show, bro. So you are turning your back on friends of the show.
Yeah, and Whitecaps royalty, I get it. It's just, you needed clippable moments for our socials, so I gave you that, and
yeah. So
again, we'll see.
If you're watching this on social or you are listening on the pod, make sure that you tag out from the backline or Mark's Twitter and let him know how wrong he got some of this. Yes. To me, just tell me how on the money I was. All right. Well, but so moving on, we talk about David Ousted as like the second best goalkeeper that the Whitecaps have seen. You have a story about David Ousted that sort of happened this week.
Yeah, so David Ousted has been in town, and he's started a petition to lobby for a soccer-specific stadium in Vancouver, and he's basically called out the lease situation at BC Place, arguing that the artificial turf there prevents the club from signing, better quality or specific designated players who, don't want to play on the plastic. He also argues that by playing on the artificial turf is really, I guess,
detrimental.
It's detrimental, but also limiting what, Jesper Sorensen's side is capable of. He feels that, playing on natural grass, they would be more advantageous for them. So, there's, and this, I feel like this is an evergreen comment or conversation. I mean, the soccer-specific stadium down at the waterfront, that's been on the table since basically day one, right? And it seemed at some points it might happen, other points it wouldn't. I've always, honestly, working in sort of land developments and everything for as long as I have, I've always been a little bit sort of skeptical about that. Like, not that it would never happen. It just seemed a very ambitious project. I mean, it was kind of like a swing for the fence one. So, like I say, I mean, this is a conversation that's been going on for quite some time. But I mean, it was really highlighted, I think, when Don Garber, the commish, said that this BCA Place was untenable, and was that sort of a veiled comment that maybe MLS might relocate the Whitecaps, or the Whitecaps might relocate themselves, and things like that. And then there was, the last fall or whenever it was, this proposal to build a 22,000 open air soccer specific stadium at the PNE, because at Hastings Race Park, where they've been racing horses since the Middle Ages or whatever, that's over and done with. That's now a thing consigned to history. And Ousted's petition really highlights the success that Portland's had with Providence Park as basically a blueprint. And Honestly, I'm glad that he's doing it and, using his reputation and what influence he has as, honestly, I mean, he's a legend. I mean, he was a great player for the club, even though he didn't make our starting best all-time 11. I mean, he gets a start. He gets obviously an honorable mention. I mean, he raised the level of, he was the benchmark for a long time for that position. So I'm glad that, he's spoken up to say something about it. And honestly, dude, I get a little bit uncomfortable when I think about the future of the Vancouver Whitecaps, and I don't want to be sitting here like a year from now lamenting that this club is no longer here, or plans are in the works to move them because like Vancouver's no longer a viable home for them. I mean,
it'll be on you. I will blame you as well.
No, even that wouldn't be on me. I know that that's a nice clickbaity kind of thing, but it does worry me because, like I say, the Waterfront Stadium was always a swing for the fence proposition, very ambitious. But to me, like the Hastings Parks one, it seems more viable. Okay, well, sure, maybe it's not quite as accessible in terms it doesn't have SkyTrain right beside it, but I mean, it's not bad in terms of the location. I mean, generations of people went there to watch the Vancouver Canucks when they played there. People go to the old Playland and the PNE all the time. So I don't really buy like the transit arguments, and I think it's a solid place to have it. I mean, the Whitecaps played there at the beginning of their MLS history when BC Place was undergoing the renovation, putting the new roof on. So there was no people really complaining about the temporary field that they had or stadium they had at Empire Fields. I went there to watch the Whitecaps and the Lions, and it was a fantastic facility. And getting away from that corner of Hastings and Cassiar and putting it, where the racetrack is or used to be, I think that's phenomenal. To me, that's like a world class, facility that would be a wonderful facility for them. And my worry is like, okay, well, what's going on behind the scenes? Like, are these, is this now dead in the water? Have the talks stalled? Like what's happening? Because like, what is the alternative? Is they just let that land kind of just go to waste, like that old horse track and, the stadium or the stand there just be demolished and it sit empty. I mean, I guess it could be repurposed as a park, but I mean, the thing is, the Whitecaps are a part of the sporting fabric of the city. There's a passionate fan base that, support and love this team. And honestly, if the team was to move, I am going to flat out say it would be a big loss for the community. And I think that's unacceptable. I really do. I think it's unacceptable.
I think that shockingly, what we have come to learn is that trying to build a new stadium in a city is not an easy task. It takes a lot. And I would like to think that the willingness from both parties is there. Right. I'm sure that obviously the Whitecaps want to stay in Vancouver because of like what they mean to the city, and the city wants the Vancouver Whitecaps to stay in the city because of what they mean to the city. Right. Not only from a sporting and cultural point of view, but also from the economic benefits that having a team in the city mean. So maybe I'm just try to be positive about this, but I think that both parties surely want a deal to be made, and we have obviously zero visibility as to what is actually happening in closed doors and what those conversations are. But it seems like I was hopeful and excited when they signed that letter of intent last December or something, like at the end of last year or so. And I said, okay, well, I guess this is like the first step towards like what is going to be a resolution, which is letter of intent kind of sounds like a promise ring to me. Like
yeah,
you know
totally.
how that ends, how that goes. Like you give a promise ring, you tell each other that you love each other. Suddenly, like she goes back home, she reunites with her a high school lover, and they fall in love again, and then she moves over there, and they have 4 kids. Anyway, what we're talking about? Oh yes. So anyway, it's just that's all I can say. Really, I don't even know what to say. Like I'm just hopeful that something will come to fruition that works for everyone, right? For the Whitecaps and their economic viability. and for the city and the way in which the resources, in this case the land, can bring the most benefit for everyone. And I think that it's there. Like it works in so many other cities.
Well, that's it, right?
Right in North America, like in the US, obviously, and Toronto and Montreal and stuff. So why it wouldn't work here? So it's just a matter of like just finding that
is it a
ground,
zoning thing?
No pun intended, but like.
Is it a zoning thing? Is it a financing thing? Are they going cap in hand to the city or to the province or to the federal government, asking for the funding or the funding to do
Let's
it?
start a Kickstarter.
Well, dude, honestly, the thing that gets me like concerned is that if if this thing was like moving forward in a meaningful way, like why is David Osted in town? Why is he out there, with this, starting this petition? Because if things were moving along nicely, you would think that somebody from the club would be like, dude, stay in your lane, chill, we got this, there's nothing to worry about. And the fact that, he's out there doing what he is and talking about the future and, like all the cons of staying at BC Place and, why it doesn't work for the club, it has to, it says to me, and, maybe I'm just being a little bit too paranoid about it, but the fact that he is doing what he's doing suggests to me that he knows something about what's happening behind the scenes. He's better informed than we are. And that news,
hopefully.
Yeah, well, it couldn't be, that hard to be more informed than we are. But you know what I mean, though, right? Like he must know something that is not encouraging, and he feels that he's got to get out there, use his voice to rally the troops. It's like, come on, guys, if you're serious and you love this club, get out there, sign my petition. Let's drive some awareness about this so that the powers that be realize that, hey, there's support for this team in this town, for this club, and we want them to stay. So, like, cut the bureaucratic red tape, figure out how to get this done, and let's get it done. I signed the petition, by the way. I didn't hide behind a false name. I could have called myself Jorge Mendoza, but I used my real name. And, usually I don't sign petitions and stuff like that, but, this is, one that's obviously near and dear and close to my heart. So I suggest all of you go and search up David's petition, make your voice heard.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll celebrate soon enough of good news on that front. But we didn't celebrate any kind of good news was on Saturday night.
No.
When the Vancouver Whitecaps welcomed the San Jose Earthquakes to BC Place. And dude, they lost.
Oh yeah, fourth batch in 9 days or whatever it was, and you had Sebastian Berhalter on the bench to start the match. Thomas Mueller was on the bench. Jeevan Badwal was on the bench to start the game. They just looked like they were lacking a bit of a spark. And I know that Daniel played well in goal for the Quakes all night long. I mean, he made half a dozen or 7, 8 like outstanding stops. And obviously if one of them goes in, then, they at least get a draw and they take something out of it. But, they were lacking that spark. And
were they though? I mean, they dominated the game. Like you said, like Daniel, because he's Brazilian, played the best game of his career. I haven't. This is probably the first game that I've ever seen him play. But the stops that he made were absolutely ridiculous. On any given, like any other game, at least 2 of them go in, and that combined with Leroux's goal at the death of the first half, which is always a kick in the teeth to receive a goal right as which again, probably the best goal of his career that he has or will score in his life.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the team didn't play, even though the oldest players that were not starting, as you mentioned, that are key to this team, they were playing well, and it just. I mean, I hate to like minimize, but it was just one of those things. It was one of those days where like just the ball and inspired goalkeeper like really saved their skin. And to be honest, also credit to as much as I hate it, credit to Bruce Arena, who he's one of the winning was.
Don't say that.
He's one of the most successful coach in the history for a reason, right? And I felt that he really pressed the Whitecaps up high, and that really made it difficult for the Whitecaps to do their usual game. They felt a little rushed. They felt a little like having to go a little bit in the long ball to beat the high press, and that didn't facilitate like just the kind of football that the Whitecaps are being playing. So kudos to Bruce Arena and the way that he put in all his tactics that made it difficult for the Whitecaps. But even then, the Whitecaps had the better chances, and they could have put it away. In addition to one of them was a shocking decision by the referee on the 60th minute, where Sabi was put, like he was taken down inside the box, where the San Jose defender didn't even touch the ball. And the fact that he didn't even went to look at it.
Well, yeah, 100%. Like I was shocked. I was just like you say, like when I watched it in real time, my initial reaction is that he's got to point to the spot. That's got to be a PK. But the verdict was it was no era penal, and I was astounded because like you would have thought that it at least warranted a second look. And I know that like watching the game on TV or watching it from the stands is different. But this wasn't like one of those, I don't know moments. It was black and white. That should have been given. It should have been given.
What's the point of having VAR if they're not even going to look at it? It's like something that is shockingly obvious.
Yeah.
It was insane. And that was not even the first one, Mark. In the first half, Sabali was taken down as he was going straight into Daniel. And that was maybe not as clear. But when you look back at it, it's not a shoulder to shoulder clean tackle. Like they come together, yes, but at the end the San Jose defender like moves his arm up. In the moment that he moves his arm up, in my book, that's a push.
Yes,
and again, nothing. So I'm not. I hate to blame referees. I'm just saying there were two calls that could have influenced the final result as well. Now. Sure, they play better. Sure, they should have won it, but they didn't, right? Yeah. And what worries me, Mark, is that at the end of the season, last season, and I talked about it last week, at the end of the season, the loss that is in my mind is the loss that they had, I believe it's the second last game of the season against Dallas at home, and that didn't let them clinch the top spot in the West. But guess what? Those matches and those 3 points are worth the same as these matches in March that are equally important at Tremont, that they add up. So I'm just saying, hopefully this is not one of the ones that come to bite them down the stretch.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I mean, like if you're going to challenge for Supporters Shield, or if you're going to challenge to become like a contender for MLS Cup, there really is very little room for error. I mean, you need to consistently score points. So, I mean, the fact that that penalty wasn't given, or they didn't score a goal from open play, was absolutely 3 points lost. And if they even draw with San Jose, I don't even look at that as 2 points draw. I see that as a point earned, because like I say, I still feel they weren't as 100% sharp as they would have been. I just felt that the way that I saw it was that without some Gold or with Kubas in the middle, with Berhalter and Kubas not in the side, that sort of transition from defense to attack just wasn't really there in the first half. It wasn't as sharp, and there were obviously opportunities for them to score goals, but the other thing is that Gold is still a couple weeks away at the very best to come back and start playing for the team. And without him in the side, like the XG is lower than it is. And it was interesting because at the start of the match, like they put up the stats and everything like that, and like the Whitecaps, like they're heavily favored to win this, and the stats are all in their favor. But that turned around very quickly when San Jose scored the goal, which fair, like I think it's fair to say it was against the run of play, even though the Whitecaps weren't as sharp as we were expecting. But like you say, like Bruce Arena is one of the winningest coaches in MLS history for a reason, and that's very much them coming into Vancouver and stealing 3 points and taking it back to California with them. And, I get what you're saying about like dropping the points, and that's legitimately like a big concern, like in the big picture for like the supporters shield for the playoff race and everything like that, and where they finish up at the end of the year. I mean, we do still kind of have to keep it a little bit in context because they are 4-1-0, 12 points, currently second in the Western Conference. But, it's one of the questions that I'm asking myself is that what San Jose did in Vancouver last weekend, is this now like a repeatable blueprint for other teams in MLS to come out? Is like, does what, they do down in Portland now is like,
they figure it out.
Yeah. Is this all we have to do to shut down the Whitecaps? And again, we have to preface that, Sebastian was on the bench. Thomas Mueller was on the bench. Jeevan Badwal was on the bench.
Daniel had the best game of his career.
You have to give him props for that, because I mean, he was outstanding between the sticks for San Jose. So, there's that 5-4-1 mid block that really targeted the fact that, the Whitecaps didn't have a secondary creator on the pitch during that match. So I don't know, like, I don't think it is. I would say that it was a combination of fourth match in 9 days, whatever you want to say, and the fact that you had such key players sitting on the bench because, Jesper basically, squad rotation is a thing, right? That many games. And so like in such a short amount of times, you're going to have to rotate your players, because as much as it kind of stings to lose a game like that, you got to think about the health of the players that we just mentioned. And we're only 5 games into the season, because, when you get into the stretch run, because we're going to go with the assumption that they're going to pick up their socks. They're going to go down to Portland and give Phil Neville and his sides, the beatdown that the Portland Timbers always deserve, especially from the Whitecaps. I mean, if they don't, put 11 goals, in Portland's net, that will be, a very big failure. I mean, I want to see them hurt and suffer. I mean, it's a derby match. I mean, it's got to be a big win. But joking aside, right? I mean, you have to figure, okay, you need your players, you need your top guys rested for that match. You got derby match, and you also have this international break in between. I know that a lot of those players are going away for international duty. 6 of them. There's quite a few. And squad rotation is a thing, like I say, because you're going to need them and manage these players, because people are going to get injured throughout the course of the season, but you just got to try and rest them when you can, so that when you need them the most, especially at the end of the year with playoffs coming and all the other competitions that they're going to play, that they're going to be fit and healthy and rested and ready to go then. So yeah, disappointing results, but I'm not going to get too worried too soon. And, obviously a big win down at Providence Park on April the 4th. Or is that one at home? I can't remember. I think it's down on the road, isn't it? Whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as they beat Portland, that's all that really matters.
It's a home. It's a home.
Okay, it is a home one. That's yeah, you're correct. So even more reason to win. But yeah, not too worried too soon. What about you? Are you like, what's your take on that? Are you worried, or are you just prepared to?
No, I think they have on a leash, and we have to wait and see what happens going down.
Yeah.
Again, so we talked about the great, and we talked about how many times they were able to, come back, and despite different challenges and vicissitudes that they faced. So I'm not worried at this point.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means, but it sounds impressive.
I'll
you can buy me a dictionary for my birthday.
I'll text you a link. Cool. Well, there's no game this weekend because of the international break that you mentioned. However, we have nothing better to do, so we will be back next week, and we'll talk about something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we stretch our 5 to 7 minute segment to like half an hour, so I'm sure that we'll be able to fill some time next week. If
we find like a meaningful topic, I mean, we can at least stretch that out. I'm thinking to at least a 2-part, 4.5 hour extravaganza.
Yeah, like Lord of the Rings extended edition.
That's right, director's cut or whatever it is.
Cool.
But yeah, like that, that whole debate between club and country. As much as I love international competitions, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's the World Cup or or the Euros or whatever. I love watching it, but also when I kind of get into the rhythm of like the season and there's that international break, for me it's always like a mixed kind of feeling. I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't want the international break. Like, let's have it next week. And I'm just like, well, if we had it next week, I'd still be just as angry then. But
let's move on.
Yeah, we will be in a much better mood, I'm sure, once we're watching World Cup matches being played in our own backyard. Not that I could afford tickets to go, but I know somebody who knows someone that's we
know we'll be there.
Yeah. Well, I know somebody who knows someone that's going to be there. So
surely someone.
Exactly. Cool, buddy.
All right. Well, with that said, thank you for listening to episode 288 of From the Backline. As we mentioned, we will be back next week. Again, please go to our social media channels, comment, and they'll mark how wrong he is with all his picks. Remember, this is a new feed, so if you can please resubscribe or subscribe for the first time, we will be eternally grateful that this endeavor that we are picking up again is meaningful to anyone beyond the two of us. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.